STR Q&A. What is up? I feel like it's been a minute. I've taken the Fridays off. Okay, we are back, baby. We are freaking back. Let's jump right into it while we have a spare bit of internet. Okay, so today I'm going to give you guys kind of a peek behind the curtain. I did this last month at the beginning of the month, and I got a lot of good feedback, and I thought it was kind of fun to like give you a little bit about like what we're working on, what we're seeing. Um, I think a high level update. I got this question probably at least 3 times this week is like how are things going in the short term rental market? Everybody talks about doom and gloom. And it is tough, especially like buying new properties right now. It is probably, I would say, harder than ever. Like we run, I don't know, 500 properties a week, and to find the right properties, including high debt service, high management fee, it's probably the hardest I have seen to get into rentals. Now, that's not to say that there are no rentals available. Like usually we're finding like 1 to 3 a week that I personally would invest in. We've even thrown around the idea of creating a fund and just doing everything in house. But anyway, it's kind of a market update. Is our clients are making money. They are profitable. I think a big one that I was just talking to Riley about recently was the cost of doing business is higher. So I talk a lot about the standard is raising. For example, like essentially you need amenities to stand out. You need design to stand out to really like to get booked, honestly. So nowadays, like the bar is continuing to get raised, but I think the part where not a lot of people talk about is like the operating cost is also continuing to get raised because like, if you had a $15, $18 an hour cleaner a couple of years ago, they're expecting like $22 an hour now. So like you're eating into a lot of that like profit of what you would be doing in the past years that you're essentially people call it doing business, but that profit margin is shrinking. So it makes more sense to like raise the top versus having to try and cut cost on the bottom. You know what I mean? Like I would rather add a hot tub and add 10 grand a year versus like trying to find a cheaper cleaner. And that just continuing to degrade, and your revenue kind of comes down with it. So all that to say, for the properties that are like well designed, well amenitized, I don't even know if that's a word, they're doing great. So it is definitely possible. But if you're just coming in and IKEA furnishing a place, like just long-term rent it's not worth it. 6 months down the road, you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, I should have listened to Caleb. Like I don't want you to be there. Happy to help in any way I can. I can run projections for you and kind of give you my 2 cents. There was a property that came across my desk today. It was a 6-1, it just didn't make sense. It made 25 grand gross, but once you take into account management and, some other things, like you're breaking even, losing a couple $100 a month on after all expenses and mortgage. Now that same property is probably losing money as a long-term rental as well. So I'm not saying that short-term rental is worse than long-term or long-term is better. It's just right now the margin is super, super thin. I think the biggest opportunity that I see moving forward is like building and developing, because your cost goes way down. Like if you build a $700,000 house, it probably costs you only 400,000, right? Or 500 or whatever it is. Like the spread is much wider, so you can buy worse and still like make a profit. So that's kind of my crystal ball for today. I'm going to put the crystal ball aside and talk about three things. If you guys have specific questions about hosting or, amenities or really anything, happy to talk details here. But the three things that I want to talk about, once again, kind of peeking behind the curtain, give you kind of a insider look on what we're doing. One of the best properties for sale right now in the Charlotte market. I'm going to give that away. The opportunity is huge on this one. Number two is one thing that we have really been diving in with is pacing report and price labs. Sounds fancy schmancy, but like it's really simple. It's just like, how are we doing this month so far? Like August 6th into August, like how are we doing so far? It's called pacing. And then the third one is an internal metric that we use at the beginning of the month. We just went through this of like, how occupied should you be across all of your properties, or even one property or two? How occupied should you be at the beginning of the month? Once again, nobody ever talks about it. I've never heard this anywhere. It's just something that we have noticed internally for the past probably year that we've started to like peg it. So we'll get into that one on the number three. So the first one, I want to kind of go through the actual best STR investment, because we sent this out to our investor pool this week. I probably think it will get bought in the next 2 weeks if I were to guess. But I'm going to kind of walk you through what I'm seeing from this property and explain. How's that sound? All right. So, and also, if you guys didn't catch last week's, I talked about a $4,000 guest damage issue that we had, kind of how we're recouping that from the guest. I hired an executive assistant, which is super exciting. I've been less in my inbox, and then some minimum night stays around the holidays. I gave away a free template there of exactly what we're doing around the holidays. But all right, first things first, this property right here is really, really, really freaking interesting to me, because God, there's so much opportunity, and I'm gonna walk through the photos and kind of show you what I'm seeing for this specific property. All right, so Charlotte property, 8 beds. First of all, like holy crap, what did you say? Yes, I said 8 beds. 5.5 baths, 3,500 square foot. The place is huge. And I'm going to show you one of my favorite things about the house. And surprise, it is in the backyard. But 600 grand for 8 baths, not bad. All right, so I'm going to go through these one by one, and just you can kind of see it back there on the right if you know what I'm talking about. But as we walk through this property, decently secluded. You've got a pretty solid interior, kind of interior start. On these, I like to just discard the furniture. The furniture, like, is only okay in this property, but just think of it from a designer's eye. If you follow me for a while, like, you're going to get this professionally designed, or at least partially professionally designed. But so ignore the furniture as we kind of go through it. Kitchen probably could use an update here, like a refresh, maybe paint the cabinets. Not sure if this is like a faux marble or what on the cabinets, but decent start here. You got some accent walls, which I kind of like. I mean, this is pretty cheap to do, but like, you're already off to a good start here with the design aspect. Once again, furniture is only okay. Like, you're going to redesign it here. But as we kind of walk through, this is the bottom area, if I'm not mistaken. You got some window units. I would definitely check that out. Like, I don't know if this does not have central heating. We can check the listing, but I think there's window units in everyone. And it's been, I guess Thursday is when we looked at this and found this property for our clients. But that's something I would definitely check with. We're happy to do that for you. Like we've got realtors on board. We can do all that legwork for you. But basic, decent sized bedrooms. Nothing crazy here. Once again, another window unit, cool accent wall, good start to this room. I'd probably update the fixtures, like small things like that really go a long way. But as we kind of cruise through, another window unit. This is that same room that we just talked about. Big open shower kitchen area, like could definitely sink some money in here and make this look a little bit better, because this is where the decision maker is definitely staying in the property. They are usually in the primary. One of the parents or kind of the lead person. Typically, if anybody's traveled, like the person booked usually get the biggest room, biggest bathroom. So definitely, I wouldn't cheap out on something like that. So this is, I don't know, what are we at, bedroom 5, 4, 5, something like this. I can't keep up because there's freaking 8 of them. And then this is, yeah, I mean, there's rooms on rooms on rooms. Like if I'm buying this place, I'm cherry picking one of these rooms and office and or game room. The hardwoods look pretty good in this. I'm just glad there's not a lot of carpet. So carpet in rentals is very, very hard to keep up. Hardwoods is a little bit easier. But I'm cherry picking one of these for a game room. Same thing here. I mean, this is bedroom 8, maybe. Okay, office here. Got it. All right, keeping it moving through here. This is, a decent amount of space here. And once again, I'm like, I've got this like spurs me to have a lot of questions about this property. But one, it's like, look past the condition now. It's 8 bedrooms, only 600 grand, 3,500 square foot in a decent part of Charlotte. Like, look past the surface area. Like, obviously you're going to need to put a little bit of work in here. I have no freaking idea what's going on here, because it looks like it's an old hot tub built into the deck, which I freaking think is sweet. I would repurpose this and like actually use this. I honestly don't remember this whenever we looked at this last Thursday. But here's the moneymaker right here. I mean, you've got pavers on pavers on pavers. Hopefully you guys can see it. This is maybe a better shot. But God, I mean, you already got the string lights, you already got the grill, you already got the fire pit. I mean, that right there is, at least a couple grand. But that's where I'm spending literally every cent of mine. This right here, this is unique. Like, this is ADU type deal. And if you're like not fully investor, like you want to live here potentially, like you could also, live in this house, or maybe live in here and then rent the 8 bedroom up front. A ton of opportunities, but this is like, I love the A-frame. Like, it's unique. It's Instagrammable. It sells itself. Needs some work in there. This RV was not here when I originally looked at this. But let's go through. There was some photos of the A-frame, which I think it might. God, I hope they didn't remove the A-frame photos. I think they did. Yeah, that's not it. This is new. So they definitely updated these. So from what I remember, this had a solid bones of like what to do in here. It's just like a little ADU, little increase income here, or you can live in here. So this is, for all those reasons, like 600 grand. Like, this is a huge freaking lot. It looks like you got some solar panels. Not a big fan of that, but like, this is. I'm buying this. Let's go back and read the description, because if they updated the photos, it probably updated this. 8 bed, 3 acres, 130 days on market. Let's look at the price history. They listed it for 1.1 at some point. No idea why, but it seems like it was definitely overpriced there. And then since they've removed it, they decreased it, and then removed it, and then relisted for 600. So definitely, I mean, I would definitely walk this property, and I'll kind of show you where it's at in Charlotte. Kind of zooming out. It's kind of west in airports right here, Belmont. Like, this area is okay, but as we kind of get here, you got the Whitewater Center close, so like pretty desirable property location. There was more that we imported into our software of like why it's getting sold. I've got an inclination, but I don't have anything on record that confirms that. So that's a breakdown of why I think this is one of the best properties to purchase. It will take some sweat equity or some capital up front to really make this property pop. But like, I mean, the opportunity is freaking endless. There are, I don't even know how many, if there are any 8 bedrooms in Charlotte. So immediately you're unique. If you can amenity it out and have the ADU, I think it's a pretty good, pretty solid investment. I would say at least like a 20% ROI. Let's actually, I'm not going to do that on the fly. I'm not going to pull it up, but I think this was definitely a 20%er, not including like appreciation and loan pay down. So any questions on that? Happy to chat further. Shoot me either a DM or a message on here, a comment on here. So point number 2, get into pacing. So pacing is kind of switching gears on you. This is like for hosts that are already hosting. Price Labs is a dynamic software to like make you more money, where your high demand days, you charge a premium on top of it. So pacing report is essentially like what you're pacing at for this month. So this is something that we just recently added, which we should have been doing it a long time ago, but you live, you learn. So pacing is, we are essentially looking forward. A lot of like revenue is like backward looking, and backward looking is obviously easier because it's set in stone. It's like, okay, I only made 10 grand this month from that property in July or August or whatever. The harder one is like right now we're August 6th and we're looking forward for August. Like, let's say we only have 2,500 on the books. Like, is that good? Is that bad? Like, if we're 30% occupied now or 60% occupied, is that good? Is that bad? Like, the pacing part is the very, very hard thing that almost nobody talks about. Like, I looked for help articles and things like that around this, and just nobody's talking about it. I honestly think that nobody really gets it. That's my inclination. So I'm going to try and kind of dummy it down for you. And where this is at, so in Price Labs, you've got portfolio analytics, report builder. This is a newer feature, maybe like 6 months to a year newer. You go to report builder, and then you get this screen right here. They have like default Price Labs template. I think there is a pacing. We've just done this, and then I've like added all the columns. I'm not going to show you because it's got all of our portfolio data, but like this is the starter. You can literally use this out of the box, and it gets you probably 70% of the way there from what I can see. So, and then as we go through here, we'll essentially sort by occupancy, lowest to highest, ascending, and then focus on the ones that are like not occupied or low occupancy. Like right now, which kind of ties into point number 3, is one thing that we have learned is at the beginning of the month, we're hovering at about 50% occupancy for the entire portfolio. So August 1st, we are already 50% booked for the month of August. Some properties are 100%, some are only at 10%. But like on average, that's what we've seen across a wide variety of 35 properties right now. So August 1, 50% booked. If we're below that, not really a big deal. If we're above it, great. But that's like our internal metric from what we've seen. So if you kind of extrapolate that to each property should be about 50% booked at the beginning of the month. In Charlotte and most markets, the booking lead time is anywhere from 14 to like 30 days. So makes sense. People are booking the end of August up into like early next month right now. So that's kind of the internal metric that we have seen. I share that with you guys to really like shed some light on it's. I'm trying to really like put myself into a beginner's shoes where they just set up Price Labs. They're not really sure what to do. Like, go back, watch all of my Price Labs training, and just just start looking at a pacing report. Like, okay, let me click through and kind of go through that, because I want this content to be educational for everybody here, beginner or advanced, or people that are smarter than me. Like, I want you to be able to learn from that, because I wanted that person whenever I first started. So hopefully I'm the guiding light for you guys. So those are kind of the bigger ones that I'm seeing from like a revenue management perspective, helping you guys make more money. What questions do you guys have on any of that before we kind of wrap up here? For whatever reason, Facebook. Oh, okay. Facebook did finally go live. God, it's been. I'm bringing up the comments. If you have comments, let me know. Answering them live, and if not, we will jump off. If you guys just joined, it looked like a couple people just jumped on late. We went through Price Labs like in the month versus like looking back and it being too late. You can't change anything in the past. So we're like it's called pacing, essentially like looking forward with how you're doing this month and then future months to come. It's done by this report here, pacing by month. And then this property out here, we went line by line of like what I would do with each property, with each photo, sorry, and why I would buy this property right now. It's got a lot of good bones, good location, great foundation of like 8 bedrooms, a huge outdoor area. That's where your moneymaker is going to be. And then this ADU is just a little cherry on the top for alley-oop. And then on 3 acres, just like you could do a lot. You could do a lot here. I think there's an RV. It looked like on one of these photos. Where'd the RV photo go? But is this? Yeah, okay. It looks like an RV is over here. So you got, maybe this is like another like rent by the room type deal over here. I don't know if that's probably just their owner storage. It is what it is. But appreciate everybody for watching. Thank you so much.